Hello, welcome to Nothing Less Talks. I guess we'll call it that. I am Alexis. I am the host that does the podcast, Nothing Less Podcast. Y'all can listen to that on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Evercast, Breaker, YouTube, SoundCloud. We have all that open there. Uh, Welcome to a little, I don't know what you want to kind of like a little roundup of everything that goes around sports. So pretty much, I talk on my podcast mainly about the NFL, just more or less because that's kind of what's on, and I prefer NFL more than anything. But for this type of episode, I'm gonna talk about every type of sport more or less that I guess intrigues me, and I'm gonna just put it all together, and hopefully I enjoy this type of content. I'm gonna put this out for audio, and I'm also gonna have this for video and put this out on my YouTube channel, Nothing Less channel. Y'all should check it out, subscribe, like everything, because I'm gonna be posting consistently. I'm gonna have to try to put all, not have to, but I want to put everything for y'all. And I'm gonna have a little rebuilding series for any game. I don't know, NFL Street. We're talking about ESPN, NFL 2K5. We could do Madden. We could do NCAA, hockey, all that stuff. We have that, but yeah, happy Tuesday morning. I mean, it's not too bad. Like I said, I mean, we're gonna be doing content, and today I'm gonna be recording nonstop. I'm gonna do this one just to like round up everything, and later on we're gonna record the podcast with David Martin, hopefully, and maybe there's a chance we do a little recording for music. We'll have a little music podcast. Hopefully, put that one out too. That's if that one happens, of course. But yeah, hopefully, y'all having a good day. I appreciate y'all clicking on and just to hear it. But yeah, man, it's been a good weekend. It was a good, well, not it's Tuesday, right? But it was a good weekend for everything. I felt there was a lot of, I guess, variety of watching, because you had college football and there's a lot of good plays there. As last week happens, Notre Dame played this week, and I think Notre Dame, well, just to backtrack, Clemson lost to Notre Dame in overtime with no Trevor Lawrence, just FYI. Ian Book, that's been in Notre Dame for like 8 to 10 years. It feels like he's kind of like National Lampoon. He's like Van Wilder, He's been there forever, and finally Notre Dame's making some strides. Before we jump off to anything, but I just want to say, for people that don't watch college football or maybe did watch that game, and maybe don't understand maybe what the significance of Clemson losing to Notre Dame winning is. For Clemson, it means nothing, but Notre Dame, it means everything, because Notre Dame, if you lose, your season's over as far as national title hopes are. But for Clemson, it doesn't matter, because they're still going to be in the ACC championship, and they get an automatic bid to the playoffs, right? So the significance varies for both. But yeah, Notre Dame, I think, if I'm not mistaken, played Boston College this past week, and they did pretty okay. I think what I guess takes me away from watching college ball nowadays is I feel like there's a lot of phony teams. There's a lot of teams that don't have the exact, how do I explain it? They don't have the power of an Alabama, the recruiting power, and they don't have the coaching power. So maybe they'll go into like a big game 4-0 and then get dismantled, and then they crumble from there. Kind of like, for example, maybe like a Tennessee or a Georgia. Georgia would be the best example. Kirby Smart is a great coach, and he just hasn't put the pieces together. But that's a tangent for another time. If y'all want to hear me talk more college football, let me know. But yeah, college football to me, I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of good prospects. It's gonna be quarterback heavy for this first round of the NFL draft. You got 3 names, maybe 4 names you could pick from. You got Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, if I'm not mistaken. I'll give them to you from, I guess, school name. So Trevor Lawrence, Clemson; Justin Fields, Ohio State; Trey Lance, North Dakota State, if I'm not mistaken. And then you got, I forget his name, Mac Jones from Alabama. And I'm forgetting the guy from BYU. But those are the main 5 guys that are pretty much named for first round all around. And you can just pass it around for who is pretty good, who's quality, and who's this and that. Well, I mean, Mac Jones from Alabama, he's been catching steam as the season went on, and he wasn't one of those guys that you had there. Excuse me, but as the season goes on, Alabama's offense looks crazy. They're not as power run heavy as they used to be. Now they're pretty vertical. They could throw it at you at any point. All three receivers are pros, pretty much, if you want to call it that. So that's something that's interesting for them, and that's why he's kind of gotten the name. But as Joel Klatt from Fox says, he makes the plays too. Sometimes it's not as simple as just passing it into like a curl route or whatever the hell. He has a zip to the ball. He has accuracy. So a lot of good quarterbacks for the NFL draft, and a lot of positive outcomes. I feel that's what you could get from these players. So as you've been looking at people that have been getting drafted, there's been a lot of turnaround and shakeups in the NFL for at least just veterans being pushed out and rookies to maybe, I guess you want to call them, second year players getting the starting gig, because you're seeing like you see how much they've grown in a year, and you understand how much their brain or their head could intake all this information that the offensive coordinators or any kind of coordinator gives it to them, and if it means college or in the pros. So that's why you see a Justin Herbert or a Joe Burrow just look great, or a Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. There you go. Got it. Okay. So you see kind of how their progress, instead of maybe like an Aaron Rodgers, how he was with Brett Favre, where he needed to wait 4 years, or wait, we don't need to get into that. But you see the growth. That's kind of, you see the growth with them is a year or two instead of a 4-year plan. And all these guys are shining. It's a young quarterback league, and it's great. Honestly, the NFL has been, to me, I've been saying it for the past few weeks, it's the most balanced it's been for a while. But yeah, I mean, for football, I'm gonna get an all in-depth talk for that. We'll get into that in the podcast. For here, we'll talk about, like, for example, NBA. NBA's is a big week for them. They have their draft. They have a trade. Just the trade. I think window already open. CP3, Chris Paul going to the Suns. They traded a pretty solid amount of players for him, and I think it's a good trade, because the only thing you worry about Chris Paul is injury, because he always gets like a major injury, or he gets nicked pretty good, and that kind of always messes up the potential of a team. But with Phoenix, I think what he brings is leadership. Even though you had like a veteran like a Ricky Rubio holding down the point guard, Ricky Rubio is no CP3. CP3 is a dog, and you understand if you forgot how much of a leader he is, this past season with the Thunder proved to you how much of a leader he is. So that's something to, I guess, keep an eye on. Let me fix the mic right quick. There you go, so you can face me. So then you got that, and now the big trade that just happened is Drew Holiday, or I think it was yesterday, but Drew Holiday traded to the Bucks. 3 first-round picks. I think they traded Bledsoe, George Hill, and DiVincenzo, something like that. And they're all pretty solid players. I think it's a good trade, because Drew Holiday puts up buckets, and he also puts up great defense, something that they lacked last year. And those players are already out, they're run down. You look at Eric Bledsoe, he has the body of a fucking tank, and for some reason he's always injured, and then he just goes away in the playoffs. Like, I don't know where he goes. He's lackluster when they need him at best. George Hill, he's not what he used to be, but he can still give you a nice 10 to 15 points, or nice 10 to 15 minutes worth. DiVincenzo's an ever so growing player, so you throw him out there. But Drew Holiday, he's been first and second team all defense, and he's been an all-star before, so you see what he can be. And this is more of just to show Giannis Antetokounmpo, hey, stay with us. We'll bring you the players. We'll bring you all this. And I know they brought in Bogdanovich from Sacramento. So Bogdanovich, I think he was a Utah Jazz member before Sacramento, but So they're putting bodies around him to show him that we can build a franchise and build a team to transcend this franchise into a winning championship culture instead of just a winning culture. I think that's an interesting thing. Um, by the way, I got Guinness glasses. They look great at home. I think it was at home, if I'm not mistaken. They're pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, the big one I think people are looking at is Bradley Beal. Is he gonna get traded? And anyone that picks up Bradley Beal is gonna be. I'm pretty hyped for that. Honestly, Bradley Beal's a baller. He's a scrapper, and he's just been in a Washington Wizards team that just sucks. Watch John Wall he's always nicked. Always tears his ACL. It feels like, and it sucks because John Wall's a baller too. So you got the NBA trade deadline coming through. And it's gonna be interesting because also the big one, I can't believe I didn't even mention it. James Harden could go to the Nets to join KD, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. But to me, I think they give up too much for that. You lose a lot of depth for that team because if you looked at them, Kyrie and KD were out and they made it to the playoffs with the players they had. And I don't know exactly how much they can do it without. It's like. I saw a crazy thing. Jay Williams from ESPN said KD with the Nets with James Harden and Kyrie is better than the Splash Bros and KD. I don't know how much I agree with that because these guys are ball heavy, and Kyrie and Klay Thompson, to me at least, don't seem as ball heavy, or they don't need the ball in their hands most of the time. So, and I just think there's more of a flow with that team, like the Splash Bros. Golden State. So with James Harden, there's a chance of him going to the Nets. I don't know how much that makes them a championship threat. Does that make sense? Because the depth, I think, really matters. If I guess you're trading like 5 players for him, and I know James Harden's worth the money aspect of things, but I don't know if he's worth that much to me. I don't know. Well, then Drew Holiday was 3 first rounds and 3 other players. I don't know, man. NBA is crazy for all that stuff. But I commented on someone telling them, I was like, the first round picks for the NBA don't mean as much as to the NFL, because if you think about it, I mean, it's like 3-4 players in the NBA draft, and then whatever. That's kind of how they treat it. So, and then the NFL, it's like literally maybe like 20 players. The first round are what are considered premium players, and then after that, it's kind of like great players to good. So I don't know what the measuring stick is, but obviously James Harden is a killer for the offensive, and his defense has gotten better. Do they win a championship like that? I don't know. I would want to say yes, just because of the offensive firepower that they might have. Because this all matters if Kyrie also is healthy. I don't know. I hope KD gets another ring, and maybe Kyrie as well. Man, you know what? James Harden too, because then you put James Harden, he's kind of like a Hall of Famer at that point if you give him a ring, right? I don't know. But yeah, that's NBA trade talk and all that. I wonder what's gonna happen. I really do. DeMar DeRozan supposedly has interest from the Lakers. Maybe he goes to the Lakers and they trade supposedly Kyle Kuzma to San Antonio and Danny Green. Who knows for that one? Another big event for the weekend that I got to watch, that was, well, a couple events, was it was a Paul Felder RDA fight. Dos Anjos, Rafael, I think it's his first name, and it was a fight. It was a scrap. Just give you a quick summary on it. You have Paul Felder. He came on a 5 days notice to fight him. He was supposed to be on call to do the commentary for that fight. It was Islam Makhachev, I think his last name, against RDA, but Islam got I think he had a staph infection, so he couldn't do it. So Paul Felder joins in. He does the weight cut and everything. He shredded, I think, 23 pounds, something around those lines, because it was a 155 fight, and that was a good fight. They went all 5 rounds. The big takeaway for that is kind of You know, RDA, he looks like a contender coming back from 155 from 170. And Paul Felder was going to retire according to reports, but he told everyone, he shut it down. He said, hey, I'm not going to retire. I'm still going to fight. I'm still going to go out. Give me the fights. So that's key points right there. And it's just depth in that fucking 155, man. It's murder's row, you know. You got nothing but killers from like 1 to 7, I would say. Maybe even, well, no, even 1 to 10. Like literally 10 good fighters could really just punish everyone. And I know RDA had called out Conor because there was previous fight attempts for them. And so maybe there's a chance, you know. You know, I was thinking about this. I don't know. So they put Cowboy against Conor last year or this year in January, and honestly, you kind of knew Conor was gonna win. I wanted Cowboy to win because I do like how Cowboy fights, but like, if you throw him in against Paul Felder, because I know there's a beef with them or a little tiff, like, how much of a fight is that for Conor? You know, that's a scrap. And I think Paul Felder could. I mean, if you watched him against what is his name? Esra Adesanya's partner. I'm drawing a blank. He's a number 5 ranked. He's a killer too. Let me look it up because I don't want to sound so bad. Let's see. Let's search it up. Paul Felder versus. Let's see. Yeah, I think Paul Felder against anyone is an interesting matchup. I know he has not won a title and he hasn't even been in a title fight, but I just think he gives people a lot of issues, I guess, stand-up wise. So that's where it becomes, I guess, interesting. Where is Dan Hooker? There you go. My apologies, Dan. Dan, you're a great fighter. Dan Hooker is a problem. And Dan, so I listened to this show called Open Man on BT Sport, and they talked about 155 is so stacked. Why not do a tournament since Khabib is out, right? Retired. And I think that's a great idea. I'll be honest. I mean, if you do quarterfinals to semis and all that, and these guys all get to fight with Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker, even Islam Makhachev, RDA. You know, these guys literally could have fights of the year in this little tournament. So I don't know, man. I think honestly they threw Cowboy in against Conor to just make Conor look good. Obviously, that's kind of an easy statement, but I don't know. I don't know if Dustin Poirier does so much work against Conor on January 23rd. I do want Dustin to win because I think Dustin's gotten so much better since, I guess, their last fight. But I don't know. I mean, Conor is talented, so I can't say that he isn't. But as far as the UFC aspect, I mean, that's kind of what it is. And then what do we have? Oh, we had Bud Crawford. He fought against Kell Brook. That was a good fight. I think it was top rank fight. Bud Crawford started off pretty slow for the first 3 rounds, and then Kell Brook was putting it onto him, honestly. And then Bud Crawford hit him. He knocked, I think it was like a jab too. Punched him straight jab, or like it was a quick jab, and that one fucked him up. And honestly, I mean, Bud Crawford is a problem, and he is a pound for pound number 1. I know I heard supposedly he wants Errol Spence, but Errol Spence I think has Danny Garcia, something like that. I'm not too into boxing like that, so don't hate me for that. But yeah, I mean, so the thing with me in boxing is just, I don't know if it's a promotions like PBC to, is it PBC? Yeah, PBC, right? Something like that. And Top Rank, I think there's a difference in like just the amount of volume of punches. Like Top Rank to me is so much slower. You know, it seems more extravagant. I'll be honest, like the way they have all the areas, but they're so they hardly throw, and it's so fucking annoying. Like, I know it's a defensive, like pick your shots and all that. Sure, okay, but like PBC, like I guess the last fight I saw was a Tank Davis, and Santa Cruz, and that one was it was a war. I'll be honest, and I loved it, and you know, and this one, I mean, it is what it is. You know, there was a TKO, but damn it, I don't know. it's so lackluster sometimes. I don't know if y'all agree with it. If you do, comment down below or let me know via socials. Cause shit, man, boxing to me is so boring compared to UFC. Even though UFC obviously you have more variety, which is like submissions to kicks to just anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. If let me know what y'all watch. Maybe I should join, like watch something that y'all watch. Maybe it'll open up my mind. Cause honestly, I was watching nothing but sports, and obviously trying to make this channel and just quality for everything for this I guess you want to call it a network of stuff, which is like the Nothing Less. And if no one understands why I called it a Nothing Less, is more or less I say nothing less than the truth. This is my opinion, and I or my friends' opinions, and we're not holding back on what we say, and we try to just give you all the best of everything. And honestly, like for these type of things, I want to keep it as uncut as possible. Every other video, I'm gonna try to give you a nice editing and all that shit. But this one, I'm just chilling. I'm chilling with y'all. And it's a vibe. But yeah, I think that's what I watched. Did I watch anything else? Well, Pitbull from Bellator beat Pedro Cavallo. Well, that was a good knockout. So there's that. But I think that's it. I think that's about it, guys. I think that's a little wrap up for the weekend, and keep an eye out for the podcast coming out tomorrow or tonight maybe, and hopefully I have a video for that one. All these are gonna be Zoom calls. As you see, we have a couch here. I'm gonna have this set up hopefully for I think next year when I have guests live. But for now, everything's gonna be Zoom calls, so hopefully I could get that set up and have the video for that and have audio proper for that, and hopefully I get also for music. But for the next time, y'all let me know if y'all like these. Let me know, put it down below. This is Alexis from the Nothing Less channel, network, and from the podcast. Y'all have a great day.